In today's video, we will be talking about one particular city that got the title of the world's most luxurious city, Dubai. The history of this city started like any other, just a tiny town in the middle of a hot desert. Still, now it is considered the most glamorous face of the Middle East and the main attraction in that area, providing everything the earth offers. Presumably, you've seen images of the crescent-shaped Burj Al Arab Hotel. It is a majestic skyscraper constructed on an artificial island. To add more thrill, you may or may not be aware, but Dubai is known as the home to the world's tallest building, and you might have seen it already in Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible film. Standing at 722 feet high is the mighty Burj Khalifa. Now, I know that the sceneries in Dubai are not new to all of you, but today I'd like to grab the opportunity to tell you so much more about this beautiful city. So here's a list of all the outrageously costly goods in Dubai. Before any of that though, let's talk about a brief history of how Dubai evolved from a small desert village to the lavish oasis it is today. Much like other United Arab Emirates immigrant cities. About 90 miles from Dubai, Abu Dhabi is the world's wealthiest metropolis. This oil production propelled the United Arab Emirates into the first world. It sits on 10% of the world's oil supplies. Dubai grew from a little fishing village to one of the largest cities in the Middle East. However, oil barely accounts for 5% of Dubai's revenue today, as its reserves aren't nearly as lucrative as those of its UAE neighbors. Most of Dubai's income comes from trade, real estate, and tourism. Dubai has established itself as UAE's business capital. Although it can't totally rely on oil extraction, it has not slowed the growth of its tremendously wealthy city. Dubai's population is expanding at the same rate as its vertical growth. Dubai is home to 1/4 of all the cranes. That's correct, approximately a quarter of all cranes in the world are concentrated in just one UAE city. Dubai's game plan is to keep developing skyscrapers, two of which are the famous Burj Khalifa and the Burj Al Arab Hotel. The Burj Khalifa is more than half a mile tall, and its higher floors can swing several feet depending on the wind. The architects of this gigantic structure, on the other hand, did not overlook this. The wobble of the Burj Khalifa was meant to be too gradual for the vestibular system in the inner ear to register, which is the component of the ear that provides balance. The Burj Al Arab is a stunning 5-star hotel barely hundreds of feet off the ground if you are unburdened by meddling. The Al Arab is the world's 5th largest hotel, standing 56 floors tall due to its distinctive design. Although it is officially designated as a 5-star hotel, some have given it the highest rating of 7 stars. The authority on the topic of luxury hotels has not been agreed upon. Thus, the 7-star title is up for question. But 7-star or not, this hotel is undoubtedly unique. The interior of the Burj Al Arab is embellished with roughly 1,790 square meters of 24-karat gold leaf. Still, even that cannot compare to the spectacular views of the spotless city, and the picture-perfect got-together with exceptionally towering buildings. The city wants to develop man-made islands in both the Palm Islands and the rest of the planet. These islands are considered two hugely grandiose initiatives that have come to completion thanks to money. The Palm Islands cost $12 billion to create and required 94 million cubic meters of sand. To put that into context, 94 million cubic meters of sand could fill the Empire State Building, which is 2.5 times the size of the Globe Islands, which consumed 321 million cubic meters. If you could only edit in 9 Empire State Buildings, the cost of man-made islands in Dubai would rise by another $15 billion. In the first place, I'm not a great fan of sand because it's grainy and gets everywhere. Nonetheless, I enjoyed my time on Palm Island, and as I've always said, nothing exfoliates like the warm water of the Persian Gulf. But enough about man-made islands, huh? Let's go on to the police force. Law enforcement isn't generally associated with luxury, but it is in Dubai as a means of attracting tourists. The police department in Dubai uses supercars as patrol vehicles, including the Ferrari, which costs over $500,000, and the Lamborghini Aventador, which costs around $400,000. Nothing makes a man feel more like James Bond than flooring an Aston Martin 177 for $1.79 million. Makes me want to take mine out for a spin right now. Using these magnificent automobiles is simply Dubai being Dubai. But wait a minute, because you should know that Dubai is the world's top 8 safest cities, so more power to them. This isn't entirely due to the supercars. The UAE has tight restrictions because of the Islamic constitutional monarchies that run the Emirate government. Sharia laws also exist in Dubai, so if you're on vacation with your lover and want to check out the posh hotels, be careful that you won't get caught kissing because you could be deported. However, because of the enormous volume of visitors, some areas in Dubai are far more permissive. For example, offering alcohol would not be authorized in a traditional Middle Eastern context. Still, it is permitted at certain institutions in Dubai, like clubs and other nightlife-friendly places. Around 15% of Dubai's population is composed of Emiratis, while the remaining 85% are from the outside city. About half of the population comprises workers erecting hundreds of skyscrapers, which makes sense. Given the crane situation, most of these workers come from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, which takes us to the more sad side of Dubai, where the class disparity is relatively large. Many immigrant employees live and work in worse than ideal conditions, while Emiratis and upper-class foreigners earn handsome salaries. But like in any divided society, there is always a sport to bring people together. Well, that's the premise, and the activity in question is camel racing. It's a touchy subject because I lost roughly $500,000 in a camel race to some sheikh in Sharjah back in 1996, but that was an extended period. In Dubai, camel racing is almost identical to American football, except that instead of youngsters jockeying camels, they started to utilize robots since camel racing has a shady history. In the past, young children were forced to ride camels, which led to human trafficking in less developed areas of the Middle East, which still occurs. However, in Dubai, youngsters have been replaced by robots, and believe it or not, some of these little bots may cost up to $10,000. The camel that cost me $500,000 was directed by a monkey. Let's get away from camel racing for a moment. Dubai has some pretty crazy plans in the making. Dubai intends to construct a whole new city, a 4.3-mile long climate-controlled sector of the city. It was revealed when Dubai's ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, disclosed plans for the world's largest mall. The world's largest mall at 48 million square feet. This little metropolis will feature a retraceable dome and will not only function as a vast pedestrian mall, but will also house hotels and apartments, as well as roads and parks. Given that Dubai often reaches temperatures of 115 degrees Fahrenheit, the notion begins to make sense. However, when you consider the cost, which has yet to be set formally, the idea loses its appeal. However, estimates in the tens of billions of dollars have been made, and keep in mind that the cost would be much higher if the workers were not so poorly paid. The dome is planned to have 100 hotels and service departments, totaling 20,000 rooms, which appears to be an audacious architectural feat. Due to the rapid growth of Dubai, it never created a conventional address system. In fact, until 2015, instead of an address line on a mailing label, there was an area where residents could sketch a map or give explicit directions. Thankfully, 10-digit numbers have been established as addresses, and I'm sure it's a lot easier to be a delivery driver in Dubai nowadays. And that's all about Dubai. And oh, before I forget, there is an interesting fact about Dubai that I'm sure would surprise you. Did you know that the mega-rich citizens of Dubai don't have to pay a penny of their salary to the government and there's no income tax in Dubai, making it one of the most appealing destinations to visit in the world? That is another excellent reason why people are more financially stable in this city. And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to leave a comment if you like today's content. See you soon on our next video. Please like, share, and turn the notification bell to stay updated.